Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiman and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Code Geass, Roze of the Recapture, episode 8. So, what do you think about this week's episode? If you can tell by the thumbnail, I absolutely love this week's episode. This week's episode was peak fiction. It was everything I wanted from any media. No, but in all seriousness, to say that this week's episode was spicy, would be putting it mildly, because like this is like the hot ones, like, you know, spicy, like a, you know, a chef's kiss, in the amount of angles that they gave Sakuya. But in all seriousness, I thought this week's episode was great also because we get to see a lot of more development with Ash and his character and where that's going to take him going forward in the future, as well as how the dynamic between himself and Sakuya, you know, comes into play, and how it's going to be altered for the remaining of the series going forward. So in all seriousness, I thought this week's episode was great. Which, before I get into this week's episode, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Code Geass, as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this week's episode. So this week's episode starts off where we see pretty much Norland talking to, you know, Catherine and Arnold, which is the guy that got defeated by Ash earlier in the series, that came back as like a cyborg. I just call him Orange 2.0 because that's pretty much what it is. You know, following those tropes. And we see that they've been dispatched to pretty much attack the Japanese people, you know, the resistance group with Haruka and all of them. And while that's happening, we also see a stunning angle of Sakuya. Now, this show is full of freaks, man. Norland and his second in command, they're freaks, bro. I don't know what their search history looks like, but I know they're into some, like, you know, kinky stuff, some crazy unorthodox stuff, because the way they had Sakuya hanging out, bro, I was like, yo, I'm more afraid of her for her life than anybody else in this show, because I don't know what they were trying to do with her. Well, we do know, but that's what they're saying they were trying to do. I was afraid for her life. But yeah, in all seriousness, the animators definitely went hard in these Sakuya scenes, and I was like, I mean, I know Code Geass is full of fan service, even the original series, but I was like, yo, now you got some bondage. And I get it, C2 had that, you know, strain jacket kind of thing, but it was never like this emphasized. So I was like, yo, Sakuya, she got the right muscles in the right places. That's all I'll say. But continuing, we see that pretty much the guy's like saying like how he's gonna pretty much use her power, how he knows about Geass, that's why he captured her, and how, you know, if it's like sound through like electronics, it won't be affecting him, because you have to use your voice commands on people by literally, so they have to literally hear you, not like through a phone or anything. So he's like, we're gonna use your Geass, we already know all about it. Norland's like, yeah, we're gonna use your Geass for my gain, and I wanna, you know, take over. I wanna find the power of Geass. I wanna know how to become, like, get that power. And as the episode continues, we see that we see Catherine fighting Haruka, as well as Ash fighting Arnold. And throughout the fight, you know, Ash is like, well, you're still alive? There's no way. And we see they're giving them a run for their money. You know, they're caught off guard. They're also very strong. Also, Arnold's mech got an upgrade, his nightmare frame. So he's no longer all about defense. It seems more about just pure offense. Like, he'll use his offense as his defense, I guess. But yeah, we see that they're giving them a run for their money. And not even just that, but they're overwhelming them. And as the episode continues, we see that pretty much we catch up with, you know, what they're doing with Sakuya, and we see that she's still, you know, being told by Norland, like, yeah, I want to use your power. We know how to, like, get it. We want you to use your Geass on people, so they can, like, you know, use them as test subjects and all that, and all this stuff. And it's like, damn, like, you really had to capture her like that? Because we also once again see a different angle of Sakuya being kept as a prisoner, and I was like, couldn't you just put handcuffs on her? In all seriousness, like, couldn't you just do that? But I get it, you know, hey man, get that fan service in, right? I ain't gonna hate it. I will question it though, like in this situation, but hey, listen, it was a great scene, loved it. But continuing, we see the fight continues, and eventually Arnold kind of spills the beans on Ash. It's like, hey man, isn't it a shame that, like, you know, that chick was using you, like, with her Geass this whole time, like, so she made you forget about your brother? And he's like, what are you talking about? And he starts remembering everything, like, everything starts kind of getting back to him, and he starts, like, questioning his entire thing, like, his entire livelihood. We see that eventually, as this is happening, we see that also they're being pushed back, they're being like destroyed. That it causes that distraction enough for Arnold to be able to defeat Ash. As Ash gets defeated, he gets pinned down, and we see that the guy has a Geass Canceller, which is pretty much like Orange. That's why I call him Orange 2.0, because Orange in the original series also had a Geass Canceller. And that Geass, like, it looked like blue, it was like Cybertronic, like cybernetic or whatever. So we see that pretty much he gets his Geass removed. And we see that thankfully the Resistance helps him out escape. And also we see that Catherine is destroying Haruka. It gets to the point that at one point, Haruka like gets a nice like hit on her. It's like, all right, let's throw hands. And then you see Catherine just put her guns down, and she starts just like throwing hands with Haruka, and eventually overwhelms her and like just completely annihilates, like wipes the floor with her. And you're like, dang, Catherine. Listen, bro. By the way, the angles they were giving Catherine through ain't no slouching. All right, they don't pick and choose their favorites. They got everybody's their favorite to these animators, because Catherine was splendid in this week's episode. Not just from a fighting standpoint, but from a visual standpoint. Eye candy, loved it. But yeah, she just destroys like Haruka pretty easily, and I was like, whoa, she's proving why she's a Knight of the Realm. And I like her fighting style too. You know, she switches from guns to just straight up combat, and that shit was great. Very competent fighter, all things considered. And as the episode continues on, we see that pretty much Ash, he thankfully escapes. So do the Haruka escapes too, because we see that people have helped them out, like pretty much through a distraction. And this distraction, you know, pretty much consisted of the remaining Resistance, the backup, pretty much throwing themselves as lambs to pretty much the Catherine and Arnold and them, because they know, and the rest of their backup, because they know they can't win, so they need them to escape. And as that's happening, we see that Ash, you know, he goes straight for where Norlin is, because they gave him a fake location early on. There was a guy, one of the Knights of the Realm. He's like a hacker or something. He gives them fake information to the Resistance. Ash goes there, fights his previous master, the guy that, you know, Norlin's like second in command. They have a hand-to-hand fighting. It's great action sequence, and we see that pretty much what it boils down to is, towards the end of the episode, is that yeah, they're escaping. You see that pretty much the entire Resistance has been obliterated. There's only like a handful of members, pretty much the original members that we started off with, you know, like Yoko and Haruka and those guys, like the ones that they had really focused on. But they escape, and as you see them escaping, you see flames everywhere from the destruction of this war, and it really took a toll on the entire island, because you just see nothing but flames covered everything, and it's a massacre. Like, it's just they took an L, like they all lost. And while we're talking about losses, we see that pretty much the master that taught, you know, Ash his whole entire fighting style, he actually loses to Ash as well. Which interesting thing to note is that it was cool seeing when they were fighting, they were doing the same pose, like to get ready to fight, because like I said, he learns his fighting style from that guy, so it made sense. It was nice seeing them finally fight it out, and we see pretty much Ash finally surpasses him. So it was great for Ash's character. And how we end the episode is that he pretty much frees Sakuya, like he released, well, she's still trapped, I believe, but she's like, he lowers her because she was hanging. Like, yeah, like I said, Norlin and her second in command, they into some freaky ass stuff, you know. And we see that pretty much as the episode starts ending, we see that Sakuya starts talking to Ash, and Ash, she's like, do you remember everything? It's like, yeah, I remember like everything. Like, I no longer have my Geass. And she's like, apologizes, like, I'm sorry for everything, but please help me like rescue Sakura. I'll do anything, like, please. Like, once we rescue Sakura, you can do whatever you want with me. Like, just please, I'm begging you, please save Sakura. That's the only thing I care for. And how Ash responds is he gets his gun out of his holster and he points it at her, and that's how the episode ends. Now, if I had to speculate, what's gonna happen is he's probably gonna like throw his gun at the floor, or either that, or he's gonna shoot next to her. It's like, you're fine. Like, he's not gonna kill her, obviously. We still got like more episodes to go. So, but I'm very curious to see how this is gonna play out. Probably Ash is gonna be like, your father did tell me to protect you, so I'm here to protect you. So, it's fine. I don't know how this is gonna get a result, but I'm very curious to see, because this episode was great. Not just from a fan service standpoint, all right, get your mind out of the gutter. I just thought it was also great from an action sequence standpoint and the entirety of the plot. So I thought it was cool. Now, with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was all right? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more code Geass, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.